Okay, now after we have the back all finished, we're going to come up to the front here, and we're going to repeat the exact same process in the front. All right, remember, we're going to get in here with a pry bar. We're going to pry that piston right there back in as far as it can go into the bore. This is a 2-piston setup here, so we're going to have 2 pistons we're going to push back in. We're going to take out this bolt here. It's probably a 13, maybe a 12 millimeter. We're going to take out that bolt as well as that bolt, and then after we do that, we're going to come up underneath here, and we're going to take out that 17 millimeter right there, as well as one more down on the bottom over here. All right, after we do that, we're going to take this, we're going to relocate the caliper off to the side up in here. We're going to hang it by a cable, and then we're going to take off this mounting bracket, and we will remove the rotor. And again, we're going to take that rotor off right here with that screw, or we can just bang it with the hammer, whatever works for you. So, all right, again, an example of the tools again that we're going to need. Some synthetic brake grease, of course, some brake cleaner, a hammer, new brake pads, as well as a new hardware kit, the tool to actually push the pistons back in, a tool to clean up the hub itself in case there's rust on it, some sockets, a couple of ratchets, screwdrivers, a file, a scraper, a very long pry bar in case we can pry the rotor off, and again, in case the hardware, the slide pins are frozen in, you can use these with either with the impact gun, or you can bang it with the hammer to knock it out, but we'll see how that goes. I don't think we're going to even need those, but that's it. All right, so let's get started. Enough BS. All right. Before we take this out, we're going to come in here with the pry bar like we did before. We're going to go up through here like this, and then we're going to pry. Just very light pressure to push that piston back in. Yeah, we don't knock your teeth out. It does slip out. Very light pressure, and you'll see it start to push in. And then we can push it back in that way and get behind the brake pad and push the brake pad all the way back into the bore as far as it's supposed to go. Make sure both pistons are in, because like I said, this is a dual piston setup on this one. All right, we're all the way in there. And we're all the way in there. Now it's no big deal. If you don't push them in all the way, we can do it later on, but I'm just trying to save a step. All right, now we'll take out these bolts. Let's bring you a different direction here now, hopefully you can see a little better. We're going to take out these 2 bolts in the back right here. Now remember, you're not going to lose these bolts because you're going to need to put these back in, so we'll put these on the side for now. We're going to take our caliper, just pull it off to the side like this, and what I usually do is hook it with a wire like this and just relocate it up out of your way. We're going to take out these spreader clips right here. We are going to use new ones, so we don't have to really worry about this. We are going to change them, but I always be careful. You don't want to drop them on the floor and run it over by accident and wind up with a flat tire. All right, so we'll just put this off to the side for now. Way we will come back. You can see that this one is very close also. All right, we're going to take this one out as well. Okay, now we're going to take out those bolts in the back that we talked about back here. It's a 17 millimeter. And then once you break them loose, you can take them both out by hand. Don't lose them because you're going to need them. Now we're just going to take this off to the side for now, and we will come back to cleaning up and replacing this hardware. Now we got to get that rotor off, so different ways you can do it again. You get back in here with a pry bar like this, and then you can take a hammer and you can hit it here a couple of times, and sometimes it'll pop off. Let me try it. Pretty tight. As you can see, it's not coming off. So you can get underneath here with a hammer and bang it back here to knock it off. But, like I said, you can bang in the back there, or you can just screw the screw in through here, like that. Now sometimes this is rusty and it doesn't really screw in too good. So just make sure you have it caught correctly. And you just turn this nice and easy. You may want to use eye protection so you don't get any kind of rust in your face. And you see how it pulls it right off? You don't have to break your coconuts trying to get this rotor off by beating on it with a hammer and possibly doing further damage. Alright, so we have it off. Take it off like this. And now this has actually got a significant amount of rust in here, so we are going to clean this up before we go any further. And there's different ways you can do that. You can get in here with the scraper, and you can scrape it to get all that rust off. You can use sandpaper if you have to, or emery cloth. You can use a gasket scraper, like this, to get it off. Or you can do it like this, use a disc like this, and you can clean up all of that rust on there so that it's nice and clean. So let me clean this up. Let me get the new rotor, and we'll come right back. Okay. Now new rotors come with oil on it, or grease. So you need to clean all that grease off of there. So we'll just take the bag, get rid of it, and now we're going to clean up the face right here with brake cleaner, just to get that grease off there. Now if you get it all off, that's fine. If you don't get it all off, that's fine too. You just want to get the majority of it so it doesn't smoke. You can see how oily this is here. So we'll just clean it off a little bit with some brake cleaner. This will minimize the amount of smoking that's going to happen when you drive the vehicle. Alright? And now once you got it clean, now we'll just put it back on the car. Slide it back on. And now what I always do is take a lug nut and put a lug nut on here to hold the rotor in place while you're working with it. Otherwise it may fall off, and you may, not that it's going to be a big deal, but sometimes you'll wind up fumbling around with it when there's no need to. Okay, now after we have the rotor on the vehicle, we're going to change the mounting hardware. This is the hardware kit right here. This is all the new pieces. Alright, and what you're doing, you just take these and you pull it out. Sometimes they're a little tight. And you just pry them out, just like that. Now, if you're not sure where they're going to go or how you're going to put them back on, do them one at a time so you don't make a mistake. Alright? Make sure there's not a lot of rust inside here, and as you can see, this one is clean. Now, take your hardware like this and just match it up with your replacement. See that? It's the exact same one, right? So we're going to take that, put it to the side. We're going to put a little bit of lubricant right in here. And then we're going to push this piece back on here so that it pops right back in where it belongs, just like that. And now we'll move over and we'll do the exact same thing on this one. Take these pins and you pull these out. Now, before that. Alright, make sure when you lubricate it, you push it back in until that boot pops back up. And we'll do the exact same thing here. Now this one is pretty tight also, but it comes right out. right? Just a little bit of grease on here, not too much, and then we'll put it back in, push it in, and make sure it pops back up like that. All right, now, every place that the brake pad is going to touch, you lubricate. Okay, just like that. Now, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take the brake pads that you took off, and you see this one here has got the, I'll show you. You see how it has these clips up on top here? These are the indicators. When they wear down to a certain point, they'll start to squeak. So we are going to put these back on to the new shoes. So this one is your outer brake pad. You can see is the outer, and we're going to put it on this end over here. Okay. Just like that. Make sure you're inside. This is off just a little bit, so we're going to push it in just till it's in where it belongs, just like that. Okay? So now we know that this one is the outer brake pad. So we're going to put this one in the outer part like this. On the bottom, push this. Okay. Just like that. And now we're going to turn it around and we're going to put the other pad in. Now, remember, this one is the inner. You can see the circles there, so we know that's the inner. So we need to put that clip back on there. Now, just make sure the clip goes on all the way. Sometimes it feels like it is, and it isn't. Yeah, I'm just going to tap it in a little bit. And there, it's down all the way it's supposed to be. All right, now this we're going to put back in here the same way. This clip goes in first, like that. And then we're going to put the other one in here. Now, granted, sometimes this is a little bit of a pain in the rear end to do, so have patience. Okay. Hey, how you doing? Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so now that we have these back in place here and here, now we're going to take the caliper, we're going to put it back into the vehicle. So let's continue. You'll notice that I didn't put those spreader clips in yet, but we will get to that. Push it in, squeeze the brake pads together, and then we'll catch those bolts in the back that we previously took out, the 17 millimeters. It's easier to put those spreader clips on a little bit later. Okay. And now we're going to tighten up. We'll tighten up those 17 millimeters. When you put these spreader clips on and you put these in here, these brake pads are just naturally going to try to pop out. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you an easier way to do it. You take your caliper and just temporarily put it on like this for a minute. You screw in one screw up on the top like this, and then we'll take this and rotate this up like that. Okay? Now, a little bit of lubricant. Every place that the brake pad, what are you looking down there for? Come on up here. Every place that the brake pad touches, like this, a little bit of lubricant on everything. Okay? Like that. And now every place that that brake pad is going to touch is now greased. Now when you put these spreader clips in, the natural thing is this is going to try to push out. Let's see if I can get you on top and bottom here at the same time. Okay, so we're going to put this in on the top like this. And you'll notice the tiny little holes there. Put it in like that. Hold the brake pad and put it in just like this. And we'll do the exact same thing. See how it starts to push out? That's the way it's supposed to be, so it doesn't actually have the drag on it. And then we'll put the other one in the bottom here. See how it just naturally tries to pull out? Put your clips in all the way. And now you just take your caliper, put it over the top like this, and pull it down over the top. And now you didn't have to worry about those things popping out. Now you catch your second bolt on the bottom here. Oh. Tight. And now we're going to tighten it up with our ratchet. Now I'm going to point this out. When you're turning this, you'll notice that this piece up here, you'll notice that when you're up here and you're turning this, the whole thing is spinning. You see the slide pin is turning too? What you do is you come in here with a thin walls wrench and you hold it so it doesn't rotate, and you tighten up the bolt. That 14 millimeter in the back, you tighten it up and then you snug it down. We'll do the exact same thing on the bottom here. Hold it like that. Tighten it up. And that's it. By holding a wrench on here like this, it keeps this from rotating. So let's just make sure these are tight enough. It is. And it is. Okay. We'll take these gloves off and we'll recap what we did. We cleaned up the face underneath here where the rotor goes onto the hub. We put the new rotor on. We put our mounting bracket on. We tightened up the two 17 millimeter bolts in the back. We installed new hardware. We lubricated every place that the brake pad is going to touch. We also lubricated the slide pins right here, and we made sure our 14 millimeter bolts are tight top and bottom. And every place that the brake pad touches, we lubricated, both on the outside and the inside. That's it. We're going to do the exact same procedure on the other side, and we're going to wrap this job up and get it out the door. Now, one thing I just want to tell you. Okay, now before you take this out and take it for a test drive, after you do all four brakes all the way around, obviously you put the wheels back on, you get in the car, you pump the brake pedal a couple of times. That'll bring the brake pedal back up to its height where it's supposed to be. The initial times when you step on it, that brake pedal is going to go right to the floor. So you want to pump that up before you drive it. That's it. You're all set. Once you drive it, you may get a little smoking out of it, but nothing to worry about. It'll burn off within a mile or two. All right, that's it. You're all done. As always, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.